welcome to episode 6. This is the 1980s edition. And I guess to do this properly, I'll have to tell you actually the first book jumps back and starts in 1975. But all three of these books were written by journalists, and so they're pretty readable. They're pretty historical, and they all have to do with the 80s and some of the backdrop to the 80s. The first book is the first book that I just read. This is a pretty long book. You have to be very interested in the topic to look at it. It's called Sweet Dreams by Dylan Jones, and this has to do with especially sort of the second British invasion of music, but it has to do with fashion of the 80s. It's called The New Romantics, so you know all the color and a lot of the philosophy of the 80s is covered here. Some English politics, which may or may not interest you, but this one is called Sweet Dreams, and so if you're a big fan of the music and the fashion of the 80s, this book will really take you there, give you a lot of background. It's coming in particular out of Roxy Music and David Bowie, and then building from there, and a pretty interesting book. The second book is the book, I'm sort of going chronologically here, the book that I would recommend the most out of these three, again, written by a journalist. This is called Glory Days, the Summer of 1984, and 90 Days That Changed Sports and Culture Forever. It's the time of Michael Jordan signing with Nike. It's Wayne Gretzky, the Celtics versus the Lakers, Bruce Springsteen, Prince, Mary Lou Retton. The Olympics were in Los Angeles this summer. A really good backdrop to really the TV, movies. There's a Karate Kid chapter in this. So if you're a fan of the 80s, very readable book, and this will really take you there. A chapter on Donald Trump and his ownership of a USFL football team, and why he didn't own an NFL team. Some sort of backdrop to lots of stuff here. Glory Days by John Wortham. And then the final one is a book that I've talked about before, again, written by a journalist, and gives a pretty full scope politics, sports, culture, but it's all about South Africa and apartheid and the breaking down of apartheid. It has 12 chapters. Each chapter is a month in the year of 1986 and the year that saw the end of apartheid. This is actually, although that topic may or may not interest you, one of the better books I've ever read. Super interesting, super informative, super well written. All three of these books are about the 80s, and this is episode 6. Thanks for joining me. Stay safe. Books make the world's best Christmas present. See you soon.